Hello everybody, thanks for watching me, and just to get it out there, I'm not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice, and I've got a bit of a cold as well, so my train of thought is not exactly 100% at the moment, not that it ever is anyway. And also, if you haven't seen the video I made last night about the crypto market looking like it's going to have a big correction after a death cross on a daily, I would suggest to sort of go back and just watch my last video, the one I made last night, because overshadowing all the technical analysis that I'm going to be doing today on these two coins is that 35% correction of the market, which is, could quite easily happen, let's just say it like that. So watch that video if you're interested. But let's get started on Bitcoin then. So we're looking at Bitcoin here on the 4 hourly. We zoomed right back so we can have a look at this on the grand scheme of things. We've got a descending trend, okay, so we've got lower high, lower high, lower high, and if we do come up to test this descending trend, we'd probably have a lower high again. That's a way off at the moment. We're talking, we've got to get up to around, if it were to go up right now, this descending trend would be 11,650, and we'll probably find a rejection from there. But before we get there, we've still got some pretty hefty resistance areas anyway. We've got these trend lines here, the 200 simple and the 200 EMA, both blending into one big solid resistance there. We were rejected from it, from this big move that we had earlier, and a big move that came out of nowhere for me, to be honest with you. I didn't expect this to happen. I'm still anticipating the testing of this bottom area here of 9,800 before we start to sink further down to our area here of 9,200. That's what I'm looking at, and that's what I'm waiting for, okay? So to see that was a little bit out of the blue for me, and another reason I say that is that we ended the week yesterday with a cross on the MACD to the down for the first time in a very long time, and it's relatively steep actually. So that concerned me also, suggesting to me that we're looking for a downwards trend throughout this week and maybe even longer. And if that goes on longer, then I would expect that this will be hitting that 9,000 area, that blue box territory of around 9,000 to 9,200. So the story for me is still not changed, even though I was surprised to see this big move come out of nowhere. So what's we likely to do here? So we're finding support here on this area here, which is the 7-day close, which is fine for the moment. It's fine. We're probably going to be breaking down at some point. It wouldn't surprise me if we tried to test up these areas. If we did break through these areas, then that would be pretty good. But just above there, that 10,600 to 10,800, pretty strong support, resistance. Sorry, so this is my cold coming out now, and then above there we've got the 11,000 to 11,200, very strong resistances as well. So we've got quite a lot to smash through above here, but the $10,000 area is very strong at the moment. It's extremely strong. We're testing it over and over and over again, and I would expect us to come back down to test it once again. And the more times we test it, to be honest with you, the more likely it is to break down, and that's my view on it. So we've got that descending descending little spike that we've got going on the weekly on the MACD. We've also got a bit of snaky sideways going on the MACD, going on the 4 hour, and the daily actually looks okay. Looks like it might actually snake up at some point to make a cross to the up. So there might be more upwards trend, but still weekly's down, and I would expect a downtrend. And I've been waiting for this all this time. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on with it. Anyway, that's your Bitcoin for you. And like I say, that video I made last night, I do urge you to watch that. Matic then. So what's going on with Matic? Not a great deal, in all fairness, and actually it could be looking quite nasty if certain things were to play out. Now, Matic is bouncing on this bottom line of support here, 130 satoshis, pretty strong area because that is the 200 simple. We found a nice bounce there 2 occasions, okay, so that's okay. We see how this held up here as well, as holding up here, and it will have held up here. This is where we launched from as well, made big moves from that area, so we tested it here and launched back up. So it does suggest to me that it's a pretty strong support on the Satoshi values, but it ought to be, because if it isn't, and if it falls down, then actually we're probably going to be falling into sort of a lot deeper territory than these little supports here that we found. Hopefully it's going to find a bounce here, but like I say, the crypto market's not looking very good in general, so I wouldn't expect Matic to be able to avoid that. The only thing that Matic can do to get out of all this is basically have something steady going on in its infrastructure. it needs something to be brought out for it really to be able to do it, because there's no indicators here to tell me anything bullish about it anymore. Before there really was, before when we were looking at the Satoshi values, we actually had an upwards trend, and it was looking pretty good, and we did break out of it actually, as you can see up here, and broke into the resistance, which caused a little bit of a breakout, but it didn't work out very well. It petered out, and it didn't even top our previous high on this area here. But in all fairness, this was launched off the back. This move here was all off the back of a FOMO move, because of the announcement from Coinbase. So for it to hold its value at this area, or should I say to consolidate down to this area so far, is actually pretty good. Actually, it's not too bad. It's 50% down from its most recent peak. And usually after a FOMO, it will be a true pump and dump, and actually we saw some good moves come out of it here. But in all fairness, it broke up to the up, but now it's broken out of that trend, so there's a likelihood that this won't hold and we will come back down again. I'm not really seeing anything specifically bullish about it right now. Yeah, I mean there's really nothing to say about it that is bullish. There's not one little thing to tell me that it's bullish, so, which is a shame, because I do hold Matic, and I actually accumulate Matic, so it's still good for me, but it's not good for the price in the short term. Long term's a different story, isn't it? But yeah, so nothing bullish about Matic at all right now, unless of course this holds up stronger. But like I say, it's the same with Bitcoin. We're looking at areas that are being tested of resistance over and over again. Support being tested 1, 2, 3, 4. Eventually it will break down. And with the crypto market looking like it's going to be in for a drop, I would expect Matic to drop. And if Bitcoin drops like I think it's going to do, then Matic will drop also. And it's all about how things can recover after that drop, and we'll see where we go from there. So thanks for watching, stay tuned for more, and yeah, have a nice evening.